Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Andrew Alvarez, and I'm the Latino conservative. Thank y'all again for joining me today. We've got a bunch to talk about. We've got a crazy Texan, a congressional representative from Houston, Texas, trying to introduce federal gun control laws. And then we got Texas at the state level ready to go to battle on that. We've also got Elon Musk, who is being investigated for not hiring non US citizens. We've also got some terrorist talk and illegal immigration. So stick around. And before we get into all that, you know the drill. Go hit the like button, subscribe to this, follow, sign up for alerts, do all of that. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify, drop me a 5-star, 4-star, drop me some stars, drop me a review. Let me know what you think. Here we go. So I talked about this a little bit earlier. Sheila Jackson Lee from Houston, Texas, a representative at the U.S. Congress, has filed a federal gun registration bill. Gun control is like the blood of congressional representatives on the left side, and they've been fighting for it. It's like a feeding frenzy for them. But they forget that there's one little section in the Second Amendment that says, shall not be infringed. Sheila Jackson Lee has proposed a bill that would, among other things, require registration of every civilian owned firearm in America. Make the gun registry public. So people are going to know if I am armed, if I own guns. Can y'all see the repercussion of this already? In fact, there are some in some states where people with the red flag laws that have just simply said, hey, he owns guns and he's not healthy. Next thing you know, cops go in and storm into the place, to the residence, and try to take their guns, and no, someone's going to get shot. And it's happened already. This would basically make the list available to anyone who was anti-gun. Anyone who was anti-gun and wanted to go against these people. You know, the cancel culture, the woke crew, the people that don't like guns, anti-gun advocates. You know, I feel you. I understand. There may be some reason, some horrible reason why you don't like guns. And I appreciate that. This is our right, though. Also, the cities with the strictest gun laws, New York, Chicago, LA, also have the highest death rate per capita. Gun reform doesn't take guns off of the street. It just prevents citizens, law-abiding citizens, from owning guns. Makes it harder for them. There's a city called Churan, Mexico, had the highest murder rate by gun in Mexico. Now, mind you, guns are illegal in Mexico. You think the cartels care about that? But the citizens in Churan, Mexico, they took it upon themselves to start arming themselves illegally. Their murder rate on gun deaths was 0 the last time they reported. Take a drink to that. So she wrote the bill to pass, requiring Americans to pass a psychiatric test. Who determines who is eligible for that? Now, that's one thing I can kind of see that. I think if they wanted to put that in there, they should make it required for doctors who prescribe patients certain medications that could make them flip, that take care of mental health issues. I could see those doctors releasing that list privately. Keep in accordance to the HIPAA laws. But something like that would need to be disclosed privately to the ATF, FBI, whoever they list it to. I can see that. But everybody taking a psych test to buy a gun? Come on. What are you thinking? You think you need a psych test yourself. Why are you still representing Texas? How long has it been? 20 years almost? It's been a while. Are you still in touch with your constituents? Do you actually really get constituents to vote for you? Well, evidently you do. And I'm not hinting at something totally different, by the way. But your specific part of Houston has people there that shouldn't be owning guns as it is because they're felons, but they own guns. Legislation like this would make it harder for citizens like me and anyone else listening to this podcast who can own a gun. It makes it harder for us to own guns, to defend ourselves against these people who don't give a damn about your legislation, and they're going to get their own guns anyway. Your proposal of this legislation shows exactly how unconstitutional you are. You don't care about the Constitution. You just care about your pockets. And the way you keep your pockets filled is by getting reelected. Don't you get money from PACs and advertisements from super PACs? I wonder why. Because you propose their legislation and go to battle for them and not your own constituents? What would Walmart do? I wonder what they think. Walmart sells guns. Academy sells guns. But Walmart is bigger than Academy. I wonder what they think of you right now. So next on the agenda, to combat that. Texas is at it again. Texas is a right state. We stand for your rights. Governor Abbott proved that when he announced that he is giving his team full authority and advising them to use every legal action they can should Joe Biden try to do something that would affect the energy sector of Texas. Texas, we got it. That's why people are moving in flocks over here. But either way, in Austin, there was a bill filed. A constitutional carry bill introduced in the Texas House would make it legal for Texans to carry a concealed firearm without a license and foster an environment hostile to federal gun control. This was introduced by Representative Kyle Biederman. Wasn't he the guy on Deep Impact or something like that? Either way, from Fredericksburg. And that is Texas House Bill 1238. If passed into law, it would end Texas's concealed carry license requirements and remove the need for government permission to carry a concealed firearm in the state. A person would still have to be 21 and legally allowed to own a firearm. So the allowances in there are basically saying you got to be 21 because that's the legal state age to own a gun. You have to be allowed to. You can't be a felon and own a gun. You can't. That's a law. I can get that. I can stand behind that. So what does this do? The effect of this. This doesn't technically affect the federal gun control laws, but, kind of like marijuana. Marijuana is federally prohibited, like alcohol was back in the 20s. But certain states, Washington, Colorado, for example, marijuana is legal. You can have marijuana in those states. You can partake legally and not get busted. In Houston, it's even been decriminalized in Houston to where you get caught with a certain amount, they write you a ticket and they go. That's it. They don't take you to jail for that. The same concept is going to happen with gun control, with this gun legislation. In fact, it's already happening. Already. I've been an advocate for start small and go big. What I mean by start small is if you want something to happen at the federal level, why not try to make that change at the local level? Because if you get your local level started, soon it's going to snowball to the state level. You get enough states, the federal government has to do something. They have to acknowledge it. And what's happened with this? Already, Nevada, Minnesota, North Carolina have already joined in this as well. Tennessee, it's already passed. You could carry a firearm concealed without a license in those states. Now, that's not saying that in California or New York I can do that. In fact, quite the opposite. They have some of the strictest gun laws in the country. But there's also a plethora of states out there that if I get a license to carry a concealed weapon in Texas, I can also carry a concealed weapon in that state. Oklahoma, Louisiana, I want to say something like that. But Texas is still going to allow for you to get your license to carry a firearm. So if you do go to one of those states, it's still valid. But you see what's happening here? The states are standing up to the federal government, as they should. because we are the United States of America. We aren't Washington, D.C. We are not Congress states of America. We are not Joe Biden states of America, Donald Trump states of America. We're none of that. We're the United States of America. So in Texas right now, you can open carry a long rifle, AR, a 30-30, something like that. You can open carry a rifle, but you can't open carry a handgun. To carry a handgun outside of your house, you have to have what's called a CHL, or a concealed handgun license. It's just the law here in Texas. This bill would do away with that. You don't have to have that CHL anymore. You don't have to go to classes. Now, am I an advocate for not going to classes? No. I think everyone who has the power of a firearm should take the responsibility of learning how to use it. Spider-Man said it best, or Spider-Man's uncle said it best. With great power comes great responsibility. And I fully 100% agree with that. There are some guns, though, like a revolver, where all you have to do is put the bullet in the chamber and pull the trigger. It's easy. Do I think everyone should go out and go get a revolver? No. There are some people I think that shouldn't have guns, those that right now are not allowed to by the law. There are some people out there that are violent that, even though it's their right, I don't think they should have a gun. But I can't say that they can't. That's not my right. If they want to have a gun, it's their prerogative. Something like the bill that Sheila Jackson Lee is proposing, if that were to go into effect, taking away our rights to own a firearm, or making it extremely hard for us to get firearms, making us go through a psych test, making us get licensing to license each and every firearm we have, no matter how long we've had it. So a musket that was passed down to me by my grandfather, from his grandfather, that came from the Civil War, something like that. You get the point. I'll have to license that. I'll have to register that. These aren't vehicles. Every state has their own vehicular registration process. And should Texas want to jump on the bandwagon and do that with firearms, that's their choice. That's our choice. But it's not. The Second Amendment strictly ends with shall not be infringed. That doesn't mean make it harder to own. Make everybody known that has one. Put it in a public database so anyone can go and be malicious and say, I don't like them, so I'm going to say they own firearms and tell the feds that they are unfit mentally. So we can have another episode like we had up in Maine or wherever it was, where the police came and tried to take somebody's guns and they said no and somebody was shot. My thoughts on Sheila Jackson Lee doing this. Again, this is the same person that said an AR-15 was just as heavy as 6 boxes, fully loaded boxes like for moving. She knows nothing about firearms, but she's trying to legislate them. Ta loca, pendeja. Oops. Did I say that out loud? So here's a new one. Elon Musk, the guy that owns SpaceX, Tesla. The Justice Department is investigating Elon Musk of SpaceX following complaints of hiring discrimination. Okay, let's touch on this. I can see hiring discriminations. The equal opportunity employers, I get that 100%. I fully back that. I don't think anyone should be discriminated on a job based on their color, their sex, their race, or anything like that. Their preference. None of that. No one should be discriminated for a job based off of that. But, key points here. The U.S. Department of Justice is investigating Elon Musk's SpaceX over whether the company discriminated against non-U.S. citizens in its hiring. According to the court documents filed on Thursday, the DOJ's Immigrant and Employer Rights Section said it received a complaint of employee discrimination from a non-U.S. citizen in May and said that SpaceX refused to comply with a subpoena for relevant documents related to hiring. The DOJ is requesting an order from the court to require SpaceX to comply with its subpoena within 2 weeks. Okay, so first of all, this is where the socialist government is kicking in. This is where the Democratic, leftist, socialites, this is what it's coming to. This is Joe Biden's America, basically saying who we can and can't hire to work. Now, I've been in the hiring business before. I've hired and fired people. I hire people based on their qualification, based on their potential. One thing that each and every one of my employees had tax ID. Whether that tax ID was a social security number or an EID or tax ID, they each had one. Non-citizens don't. That could be one of the reasons why Elon Musk is moving Tesla to Texas. It's because all of the overreach given by the California government. They try to dictate everything that everybody does. In fact, California is trying to charge their past citizens taxes for 10 years. That's right. You live in California right now, you better move unless the bill has already passed, because they're going to charge you 10 years when you leave California. Elon Musk is moving to Texas because of that. And Elon Musk has been criticized for being a Trump supporter, a conservative. But that's his right, isn't it? He can support whoever he wants until the cancel culture and the woke people say, no, we don't like who you're supporting, so we're going to condemn you. We are going to crucify you. We are going to do anything and everything in our power to cancel you. But Elon Musk is the second richest person in the world, but it just shows the cojones they have. They're coming after this guy still. Makes you wonder who's really the richest person in the world. So some of the documents that the DOJ requested was stuff like driver's licenses and social security cards. Aren't those private? They want SpaceX to give those documents up. SpaceX refused. They gave them SpaceX did provide the DOJ with I-9 data, and that data dated back till June of 2019. But giving the DOJ a copy of everybody's social security card and driver's license, that's big. What are they going to require next? Blood samples? They're going to require COVID test results. China is already allegedly, quote unquote, taking the swabs that they use and stealing the DNA from that. What's next? What is our own government going to require from us? Oh, that's right. They're going to require us to hire non-U.S. citizens. People that we can't prove actually exist other than they are standing in front of us. We can't prove where they come from. We don't know who they are, where they come from, what they plan on doing. Does that mean that they still pay taxes? Or if they had, since they don't have a social security number, I guess they technically don't have to pay taxes, right? They don't have a tax ID number. They don't have work visas. They don't have any of that. But we have to hire them. In one of the world's most technologically advanced entities, we've got to hire a potential terrorist. Speaking of terrorists, let's move on to our next story. But before we get there, I'd like to take a chance to mention Cash App. Now, Cash App isn't a sponsor of mine, but I do talk about them pretty regularly. Anytime one of you downloads Cash App that doesn't have it already, I get $15 from it. You can do the same thing. All you have to do is go to thelatinoconservative.com/Cash App, and there's a link there where you can download Cash App for free. Now, I use Cash App. If somebody in my family needs a little help financially, I can send them a few bucks, and they can do the same for me. What I can also do is use it to manage my money. I can use it for direct deposit, and I even get a debit card that works wherever Visa is accepted. That's right, I get an account number, routing number, so my employee can deposit money straight there every week. What I can also do, we all know what's happened with GameStop and with AMC recently, with the stock market in general. I can use this to trade stocks free. I don't have to buy the entire share if I don't have all the money for the entire share. If a share costs $150, but I only have $10, I can buy $10 worth of that share. It's called partial sharing. I can buy that $10 and watch it grow, and then sell it, then wash, rinse, repeat. Do it all over again. You don't have to rely on Robinhood, who came under scrutiny for taking stocks off. Use Cash App. It's free. Again, go to www.thelatinoconservative.com/Cash App and download Cash App right now for free. So, terrorists and immigration, hand in hand. When Trump initially ran for president, he was adamant about building a wall on our southern border. He was talking about how not only Mexicans come over, and I agreed with him. When I was on Fox and Friends First, I was asked about illegal immigration, and I oppose it. I think we have the technology to make immigration and citizenship faster. I do. And we should use that same technology. But this story I've got right here from the WashingtonTimes.com. This happened in Arizona. Border Patrol agents arrested 11 Iranians Monday after they snuck across the border into Arizona. There's 5 women and 6 men were traveling as a group and were nabbed on a bridge near San Luis, a border crossing point. Agents said the group had just crossed the border. Now, Iran is a special interest country. You know, Hezbollah's out of there. ISIS. They're terrorists, real terrorists. Not like the Canadians are claiming Proud Boys are terrorists for, not doing anything. These are people that will fly airplanes into buildings, who set off bombs, car bombs, suicide bombers. They come from Iran. They look kind of like me. They kind of look like other Latinos. And that's what Trump was adamant about. You've got all of these special interest groups that, not based out of the United States, are based in other countries that should actually be on terrorist watch lists because they actually kill people. They blow up buildings. And I'm not talking about just one person. I'm talking about hundreds and thousands at a time sometimes. Children. But the Democratic Party wants to do away with the wall. Joe Biden has stopped construction, halted it on the wall. Right after that, we've got people from Iran, not Mexico, Iran. They look like Mexicans because, let's be honest. People in Mexico and people in the Middle East, they kind of look alike. People from a terrorist country crossed over the Mexico border. Guys, open your eyes. If you're blind to the fact that our national security is threatened at our southern border, then I don't know what else to say to you. There is nothing I can do or say to convince you of that. You're probably just one of those people that will make up excuses, make up reasons to make it seem like the left's agenda is right. Just because you don't like the orange guy. Yeah, he might have pissed you off a little bit. He might have upset you with some stuff he said. But Joe Biden is threatening our security, our safety, our family's financial success, our freedom. It's not just Joe Biden. It's the entire left regime. Immediately after he halted work on the border wall, we get people from a terrorist country coming over. That's hard to ignore. And if you choose to ignore that, I don't know what else to say. I've got nothing else to say. I understand hardly anybody's mind has been changed on social media. I understand that. I think I might have once or twice changed somebody's mind on social media. Let this be one of those times. Now, I'm not saying these people are terrorists by any means, because I don't know. I haven't seen any investigation done into those people yet, but they can be. They could quite possibly be terrorists, and the sad part is, the scary part is, we may never know, because they don't make that part public a lot. They may be part of some secret organization, some secret terrorist group that we don't even know about yet. They may be a decoy. Who knows? But illegal immigration is a problem. And I say that as a Latino. I've heard a lot of people my skin color, my ethnic background say, let our people in. And I agree. Let them in. Legally. Do it right. Now, for the United States side of it, what takes so damn long to get somebody legalized? Now, understand, we had to do background checks and vet these people. I do get that. But this thing right here, it's my cell phone. Everything I do is attached to this cell phone. I've got email. I've got social media. I've got people I contact through text, whatnot. I can call my sister on a daily FaceTime with this thing right here. I can see her across the country. And this tracks everything I do. There are more people with Facebook than there are without Facebook. Facebook has this thing on there that tracks your offline activities. And in order to have Facebook, you have to agree to do that. They get that through Android and through Apple, which are the two operating systems that most people use. In fact, I think it's pretty much split half down in the middle, with maybe a 1% of other operating systems, something like that. But Google, Android, and Apple, you have to agree to their terms of services to use their products, which also means you allow them to track you. It's just the way the world is, guys. I don't know what else to say. We're not going to get away from that. But if we've got these devices here that can track our each and every move, online, offline, where we go. If you don't believe me, go to a pet store one day. Don't say the word pet food or anything like that, but go to a pet food store. Then watch your ads. They'll be pet related. Try it. Experiment with it. But if we got that technology, why can't we use those advancements to vet our people coming in quicker? So we don't have to have illegal crossings. We can do background checks instantly. Why not use that technology to get people legalized quicker instead of waiting decades? I know people that have been here decades and they're still not citizens. And it's not like they're not trying. They've tried. They've filed appeals. They get denied. But why? We've got the technology there. Why don't people like Sheila Jackson Lee, who has a lot of undocumented people in her district and in the city that's around her district, why can't you do something to help us Latinos and people in general gain their citizenship quicker? Instead of all of these fancy publicity stunt gun control bills that you're doing. Maybe you should actually go and try to shoot one at a target. See what it's actually like. And then do some real work and try to get our people citizenship quicker. Hey guys, my name is Andrew Alvarez again. Thank you for letting me rant and rave at you. Don't forget, hit that like, share, subscribe button. Share this. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. I do this totally free, but go hit me up. Go hit me up. Shoot me a subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube for obvious reasons, but go hit the subscribe button for me. Also, don't forget to share this. And I've also included some links down below in the description. Kind of, other ways you can support me, but the biggest way you can support me is by subscribing and sharing this. My name is Andrew Alvarez, and I'm the Latino Conservative.